Eminence, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the Chief of Protocol in the Federal Ministry for European and International Affairs, I have a great honor and great pleasure to welcome you here at this very special event, the ceremony celebrating the signing of the agreement for the establishment of the King Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialog. We are here in the hall of the Muses, called by that name after the statues of Apollo and the 9 Muses that watch over us here today. May these Muses serve as an auspicious inspiration for the center we are about to formally form today. Before giving the floor to our first speaker, our host, Vice Chancellor, I would like to just briefly introduce our artists today. Marwan Navado and Al-Aziz, playing the traditional instruments of the oud and violin. They are outstanding and very well-known representatives of the cosmic musical scene in Vienna and in Austria. Marwan Navado has been called sometimes even an ambassador of the Oriental music in Austria, one of the best ambassadors of Oriental music here. They formed together the ensemble called Friedenszeiten. I will translate this by peace strings or strings of peace. And today they will perform for us a few pieces of music. One right now at the introduction called Haza, meaning vibrations. And afterwards, after the speeches, Adio Querida, which is in honor of our Spanish guests, speaking in Sephardic Spanish, and Matre, a rain will come. Again, welcome to Marwan Navado and Al-Aziz. Please. May I now ask the Vice Chancellor and Federal Minister for European Affairs for his opening speech, please.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency, Your Eminence, all Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is really a great pleasure and honor for me to speak to you on the occasion of the signing of the agreement for the establishment of the King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialog. I thank His Royal Highness Prince Saud al-Faisal and His Your Excellency the Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Spain, Mrs. Trinidad Jimenez Garcia Herrera, for participating in this eminent signing ceremony here in Vienna. I'm also grateful for the presence of His Eminence, President of the Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue, Cardinal Jean-Louis Touron, and His Excellency Archbishop Gelada. At the outset, let me quote former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, who said on the occasion of the proclamation of the Year of Dialogue amongst Civilizations in 2001 the following. He said, I quote, "In our globalized world, the peoples of the world are more united by common fate than they are divided where they are separate identities." End of quote. This phrase still rings true, especially on this important day. We are very thankful for the initiative of His Majesty King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz to establish an international center dedicated to the dialogue between religions. Austria, as one of the three founding states, is particularly pleased that this important permanent platform for international dialogue will be based in Vienna. The center's main objective is to foster dialogue between religions and cultures on all levels. Thus, complements and reinforces Austria's long-standing tradition in interreligion and intercultural dialogue. For many years, Austria has continuously worked to become a hub for international dialogue, thereby contributing to stability and peace worldwide. Today, I would like to share with you my thoughts on two topics. Firstly, the growing need for interreligious and intercultural dialogue in our modern pluralistic societies. And secondly, the important role of the King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue can play in this context. Let me start by underlining our firm commitment to dialogue on all levels. New realities come upon us with breathtaking speed. Dialogue is an indispensable fabric which holds each society together. We consider it a prerequisite for the peaceful coexistence of different cultures and religions. We share the responsibility of creating everyday life of cultural diversity in a realistic way. School, housing, and exercising religious beliefs, but also requiring a sense of community and responsibility. Lack of mutual understanding must be overcome. And there is no alternative. From an Austrian point of view, honest and open dialogue is based upon the respect for diversity, human rights, and fundamental freedoms, including the freedom of religion and science. Dialogue also needs structures and continuity. This brings me to my second point, future role of King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue. It is our ambition that it will provide a continuous platform to openly discuss the potential of religious communities, to foster conflict resolution, peace and reconciliation, as well as social cohesion and development. The personalities of different religious communities, civil society, and scientific community will enable the Center to work in a truly interreligious and interdisciplinary way. At the same time, all efforts to promote the dialogue between cultures and civilizations must reach out to a wider public. The task we as governments, religious leaders, writers and journalists share is to give people a fair chance to understand and appreciate different cultures and civilizations. Therefore, I am positive that the Center will also serve as an important meeting place for people of different backgrounds. In conclusion, let me state once again that I am firmly convinced that there is no alternative to an open, sincere dialogue between cultures and civilizations. Therefore, I wish the King Abdullah Zentrum International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue all the best for the challenges ahead. Let me assure you that we will do our utmost supporting the Center in its endeavors. Thank you very much for your attention.
May I now ask Her Excellency, Foreign Minister of Spain,
Good morning, Your Royal Highness, Minister Saud Faisal, Your Excellency, Ministers Interreligious, His Eminence, Cardinal Islam, members of the different confessions, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here today in Vienna to sign on behalf of the Kingdom of Spain the agreement for the establishment of the King Abdulaziz International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue. The ceremony we are holding today closes a process which started 3 years ago, in July 2008, in the capital of my country, with the World Conference on Dialogue organized by the Muslim World League under the patronage of the custodian of the two holy mosques, His Majesty King Abdullah. Spain was very glad to form Madrid as the venue for that meeting and is now keen on participating in the foundation of the Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue. Indeed, the philosophy underlying this initiative of King Abdullah embodies some of the principles that are essential for the foreign policy of the government of Spain. A strong belief in multilateralism and in the need to foster dialogue as a means to support conflict prevention and resolution, sustainable peace, and social cohesion. As you all know, this is the belief that led the President of Spanish government, José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero, to present the initiative of the Islands of Civilization before the United Nations General Assembly in September 2004. As you know, the Arabians of civilization has since become an important tool for preventing the diplomacy of the United Nations, with 129 states and international organizations participating in its group of friends. Although the Alliance has certainly a different nature and a wider scope, it shares the same basic principles which are at the basis of the creation of the International Center King Abdulaziz, the relevance of interreligious and intercultural dialogue that bound the cause of peace. André Malraux famously said that the 21st century will be spiritual or will not be. There is no denying that the religious factor is gaining a growing importance in international relations, and that is constitutes today an important issue in the global agenda. Religions can be a positive force for individuals and societies because the vast majority of confessions share and promote moral values and principles which are of the sense of the well-being of individuals and societies, such as defense of human rights, peace, and solidarity. But it's also a fact that, as it happened in previous stages of our history, religions are used and abused by certain people to advance spurious political agenda or to justify violence and terrorism. The international community needs to make every effort to oppose this, and fostering interreligious dialogue is certainly one of the most effective ways. The same goes for the need for intercultural dialogue. While cultural differences are, of course, positive manifestations of the richness of the human being, intercultural tension triggered by political or ideological interests remain a matter of concern for the international community. And this concern, again, needs to be addressed through dialogue. This center is created as an intergovernmental organization. The states and international organizations are invited to become parties, and as they do so, they will have for a say in the ruling of the center. But neither state nor international organizations are the main actor in the project. They have the right and, as I have explained, even the obligation to promote interreligious and intercultural dialogue, and this is actually what we are doing by creating the center. Yet the central role in the development of its objective belongs to the members of the different religions and cultural organizations, which will be part of the board of directors and the advisory forum, as well as to the square that will take part in the activities organized by the center. Our hope today, as we gather to sign this agreement, is that through dialogue, in a spirit of freedom, tolerance, understanding, and respect, we can achieve a better world in which religion and culture cannot be used to justify violence, exclusion, or extremism, but rather serve as forces to promote peace, understanding, and solidarity. Thank you very much.
I have a great honor and pleasure to welcome again His Royal Highness King Saudi Arabia, Prince Abdulaziz, and ask for the words. Thank you.
Your Excellency, it's very unfair of you to ask for people moving. This is the audience probably the first hear the music for the last speech. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Dr. Vice Chair, Chancellor and Minister of European and International Affairs of the Austrian Republic. Her Excellency Teresa Jimenez Garcia Herrera, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation for the Kingdom of Spain. His Eminence Cardinal Prophet Deacon Jean-Louis Toran, President of the Pontifical Council of Interreligious Dialogue in the Road to Purity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and privileged to participate today with you in this momentous historic event. It is a pleasure to convene here with all of you and to convey to each and every one of you the personal greeting of the custodian of the two volumes, King Abdullah Zentrum, the architect of this global. To the Austrian government, I offer my deep gratitude and appreciation for hosting both this event and the establishment of the headquarters which we are celebrating today. Since the dawn of human existence, there has been an attribute which all men share and have in common. This is the unique attribute of human inquiring mind and curiosity. To ask a fundamental question: why are we here? What is the meaning of life? How to make the best of it? And what happens afterwards? How can man live with his world and in peace and security? Religion, in essence, gives answers to these fundamental questions concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of life. It involves the establishment of a moral code to govern and regulate the conduct of human affairs, and gives reason for man's existence. It is an all-encompassing worldview. This view, however, is different from other man-generated worldviews, in that it is down to humanity by a supreme being, and as such, an ultimate authority, constancy, and everlasting truth and wisdom. All major religions offer tolerance and the emphasis on the dignity of all human beings. The main objective of religion was and still is the prevention of evil and the promotion of good in society, accomplished by virtue of faith. Due to many reasons, the most important of which were human frailty, isolation, both cultural and geographic, ignorance, misunderstanding, resulting in conflicts between the religions, and sometimes even within the same religion. These conflicts, in turn, turned into violent confrontation that caused humanity unwarranted despair and suffering. The emphasis being placed on the differences between the religions rather than the overwhelming similarities. This has changed. The recent developments in transport, communication, and information technology expanded contact and interaction among all the people of the world, commingling their various religions, beliefs, and culture. Although these developments have generally improved human life, extremist minorities within every religion and cultural community are seeking to exploit these tremendous technological developments to propagate notions of intolerance, exclusion, racism, and hate. These tiny minorities are trying to hijack and disrupt the legitimate identities and aspirations of people of all cultures and faiths. Therefore, we all need to work together in an earnest manner in order to create an environment conducive to promotion of the values of dialogue, tolerance, moderation, and the furtherance of relations, cooperation, and peace. Being keenly aware of this, the custodian of the two holy mosques launches the universal appeal for the pursuit of dialogue among all the followers of religion and culture, constituting the heritage of the Muslim. At the Islamic level, the custodian of the two holy mosques convened an extraordinary Islamic summit in Mecca in the year 2005. This was followed by a conference of dialogue held in Mecca in May 2008, attended by Muslim scholars from all Islamic denominations and schools of thought. Both of these meetings affirmed the tolerant and moderate nature of Islamic religion, distancing it from the forms of bigotry, prejudice, and extremism that has been falsely attributed. This was followed at the international level in July 2008. The World Conference on Dialogue was convened at Madrid, which was inaugurated by the King of Spain and Saudi Arabia, and attended by representatives of all the major religions and cultures. Participants called for the establishment of a framework for global dialogue, upholding, among other things, the principle of respecting human dignity, promoting human rights, fostering peace, honoring agreement, and respecting the positions of people, as well as their right to purity, freedom, and self-determination. The high-level meeting of the United Nations General Assembly in October 2008 reflected the broad international support for this initiative, even encouragement. The cumulative effects of these efforts are culminating today by bringing us to the beautiful city of Wien, which was also headquarters of the International Center for Dialog. I am here to demonstrate publicly and clearly that Saudi Arabia is willing to financially participate in this project and to place all its moral and political resources behind such a system, without infringing either on autonomy or independence from any political interference. The world cannot survive without human progress, and religion plays a major role. The thesis that there cannot be world peace without a religious peace is that we must attain. I sincerely thank the people of Arabiens, Austria, and Spain for their valuable cooperation that brought this vision to reality. I am also grateful to the religious leaders and institutions of all faiths that agreed to assume the important business of making this center work in the future as a true expression of the soul of vision. Let me remind you of the word of the custodian in the morning, Abdullah that I quote: if we wish to succeed, we must focus on the common denominator that unites us, namely deep faith in God, noble principles, and lofty moral values, which constitute the essence of humanity.
Dios quería, no quiero la vida de la verdad eres tú.
this wonderful tone still ringing in our ears. Thank you so much. We will now proceed to the formal act of the ceremony, to the signing of the agreement. His Royal Highness will start signing the Portuguese agreements next. Here is the email, and then
What is missing?
We will now have a press conference. The ministers will proceed to a press conference. But please, ladies and gentlemen, for the festival, time enough to move into the next room. You don't need to hurry. It will take a little bit of time. We apologize. The room is a bit small. The palaces of the 17th centuries were not made for press as it is today. So please proceed to the room adjacent the next room. Thank you.
So, meine Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen zur Pressekonferenz heute von Vizekanzler Außenminister Michael Spindeler gemeinsam mit Außenminister Saudi-Arabiens Prinz Saud al-Faisal und Außenministerin von Spanien Linda Jiménez anlässlich der Gründung des heutigen Dialogzentrums zwischen Religion und Kultur. Vizekanzler, ich darf bitten.
Sehr geschätzte Damen und Herren, Königliche Hoheit, liebe Kollegin Trinidad, ich freue mich sehr, dass wir heute mit dieser Unterzeichnung des Übereinkommens zur Gründung dieses Zentrums tatsächlich Neuland betreten. Neuland insoweit, weil es erstmals eine stabile und permanente internationale Plattform für den Dialog zwischen den Weltreligionen gibt. Wir sehen, wie notwendig das ist, wenn wir in die Welt von heute blicken, mit all den Verfolgungen von religiösen Minderheiten, mit all dem, was sich gerade in letzter Zeit in Ägypten gezeigt hat. Das unterstreicht die Wichtigkeit einer solchen Initiative und Einrichtung. Dieser Bedarf an einem systematischen interreligiösen und interkulturellen Dialog ist daher für uns in Österreich wie für alle Länder dieser Welt von enormer Wichtigkeit. Vordergründig wird manchmal versucht, aus einem religiösen Kontext abzuleiten, dass man für Gewalt eintritt. Dieses interreligiöse Zentrum soll genau das verhindern. Durch einen Dialog der unterschiedlichen Religionen miteinander soll klar zum Ausdruck kommen, was Religionen eigentlich wollen, nämlich die Beziehung des Menschen zu Gott, zu dem, was Menschen wichtig ist, in den Vordergrund zu stellen und untereinander das auszutauschen, wie man friedlich und wertschätzend miteinander umgehen kann. Für Österreich ist dieses Zentrum auch eine Bereicherung für den Amtssitz hier in Wien, der zahlreiche internationale Organisationen beherbergt und jetzt durch diese neue geschaffene internationale Organisation als Drehscheibe für den Frieden, für den Dialog bereichert wird. Lassen Sie mich 3 Punkte aus österreichischer Sicht festhalten, die auch aufgrund dieser Diskussion einmal mehr unterstrichen werden müssen. Erstens, dieses Dialogzentrum beschränkt sich nicht nur auf wenige Religionen, sondern auf viele. Wir haben Vertreter des Judentums, des Islam, des Christentums, aber auch des Buddhismus und Hinduismus im Direktorium dieser Einrichtung vertreten. Wir werden daher auch nicht nur monotheistische Religionen hier vertreten sehen, sondern viele. Zweitens, es freut mich natürlich besonders, dass auch Eminenz Kardinal Jean-Louis Touron heute zugegen war bei der Unterzeichnung des Übereinkommens. Er ist der Präsident des Päpstlichen Rates für interreligiösen Dialog, Erzbischof Celata, der dort seit vielen Jahren tätig ist, war ebenfalls anwesend.
das zeigt, dass ein Interesse besteht seitens des Vatikans, dass wir hier diese Organisation als eine zentrale Plattform für diesen interreligiösen Dialog etablieren. Freut mich auch, dass der Heilige Stuhl sein grundsätzliches Interesse angemeldet hat, einen Beobachterstatus bei dieser internationalen Organisation zu erlangen. Sie können daraus sehen, und das ist mir wichtig heute festzuhalten, dass keine der vertretenen Religionen hier eine Vorherrschaft hat, sondern dass das Miteinander und auch die Repräsentantinnen im Direktorium eine Ausgeglichenheit garantiert wird. Es ist eine internationale Organisation, das bedeutet, dass möglichst viele Staaten auch in dieser jetzt von Saudi-Arabien, Spanien und Österreich gegründeten Einrichtung beitreten sollen. Wir erwarten uns, dass das Stück für Stück große Dimensionen hat. Das dritte und letzte, dieses Dialogzentrum beruht auch auf ganz klaren Grundsätzen. Das Gründungsabkommen beruft sich auf die Menschenrechtserklärung der Vereinten Nationen, insbesondere natürlich auf die Glaubens- und Gewissensfreiheit. Dadurch wird auch sichergestellt, dass die Wertestruktur eine entsprechende herausragende Bedeutung gerade in diesem Rahmen der Menschenrechtserklärung der Vereinten Nationen hat. Der Erfolg des Zentrums hängt davon ab, inwieweit man sich auf einen tiefschürfenden Dialog einlässt. Wir haben heute die Bereitschaft gehört, insbesondere von Saudi-Arabien, das zu tun, und ich freue mich sehr darüber. Ich sehe das als einen wichtigen Schritt, dass wir dieser interreligiösen Dimension weltweit mit diesem Zentrum nötige Aufmerksamkeit schenken und dass wir dadurch auch einen ganz bedeutenden Schritt nach vorne machen, dass wir Religion als etwas verstehen, was von einer Wertschätzung zur anderen, von verschiedenen religiösen Partnern auch im Zentrum des Dialogs hier in diesem Zentrum, das wir heute schaffen, stehen soll. Ich wünsche daher dem Zentrum viel Glück. Ich hoffe, dass es eine starke Beteiligung gibt, dass wir möglichst rasch die Institutionen auch aufstellen können. Und ich freue mich natürlich ganz besonders, dass seine königliche Hoheit heute bei uns ist und uns die Ehre gibt und dass meine geschätzte Kollegin und Charming Lady aus Spanien heute bei der Unterzeichnung dieses Abkommens anwesend sind. Vielen Dank.
Danke. Frau Ministerin.
Hola, muy buenos días. Ya dejar tiempo para que puedan usar sus auriculares. Nos hemos reunido hoy aquí en Viena para firmar el acuerdo por el que el Reino de Arabia Saudí, la República de Austria y el Reino de España ponen en marcha el Centro Internacional Rey Abdullah Abdulaziz para el diálogo interreligioso e intercultural. El centro se constituye como una organización internacional con personalidad jurídica propia que nace con el valor fundamental de promover el diálogo pacífico como un instrumento útil para la prevención y la solución de los conflictos. Comparte por ello objetivos que son fundamentales de la política exterior española, tales como la apuesta por el multilateralismo o la promoción del diálogo y el entendimiento entre las distintas culturas y entre las distintas religiones. Se trata de una iniciativa que consideramos que puede ser complementaria a otras impulsadas por el Gobierno de España, como puede ser el diálogo de las civilizaciones. Este centro aspira a convertirse en el centro de excelencia para el diálogo entre personas de diferentes confesiones religiosas y personas de diferentes trasfondos culturales. Por tanto, en esa diversidad nos vamos a encontrar, nos vamos a entender y vamos a trabajar conjuntamente para afrontar los desafíos más importantes que tenemos en el mundo actual y en el escenario internacional. Por ello, va a desarrollar, entre otras actividades, la de apoyar iniciativas que ya existen, que practican y promueven el diálogo entre confesiones y culturas. La promoción de la libertad religiosa es un elemento fundamental y aquí lo hemos querido poner de manifiesto por la presencia de distintas confesiones en el comité ejecutivo de este centro. Está la corriente, hay diferentes corrientes musulmanas, la confesión musulmana, también cristianos, también hinduistas y también budistas, así como judíos. Es importante poner de manifiesto esta diversidad y esta pluralidad. Al mismo tiempo, este centro quiere difundir buenas prácticas y contribuir al desarrollo de una red de contactos entre los distintos actores implicados en esta materia. También queremos impulsar la investigación en el área del diálogo, reclutando y prestando apoyo a diferentes figuras académicas en este ámbito. Y también queremos ofrecer en el centro un lugar seguro para que grupos de diversa naturaleza establezcan un diálogo o proporcionen expertos que puedan prestar apoyo a los procesos de diálogo. El acuerdo que hoy hemos firmado queda abierto a la adhesión de otros estados, también queda abierto a otras organizaciones internacionales, a los que animamos a que se unan, que sustenten esa plataforma para que representantes y figuras destacadas de las diferentes confesiones y extracciones culturales puedan encontrar un espacio para el entendimiento, para el acuerdo y podamos ayudar entre todos a prevenir los conflictos desde su raíz. Desde luego quiero mostrar mi satisfacción y mi agradecimiento tanto al gobierno de Austria como al Reino de Arabia Saudí por haber participado en este acto a propuesta de Su Majestad el Rey Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, a quien queremos agradecer el que haya puesto todo su esfuerzo a disposición de esta gran iniciativa internacional, y estoy segura que a partir de ahora ponemos en marcha una gran iniciativa que va a redundar en un mejor entendimiento entre los distintos pueblos y que va a favorecer el diálogo como la herramienta más útil para lograr poner fin a los conflictos y sobre todo poder convivir en paz entre todos. Y quiero finalizar también agradeciendo a mi colega de Austria su excelente hospitalidad en esta maravillosa ciudad de Viena. Y espero que esto sea el principio de otros muchos encuentros que tendremos ocasión de tener. Muchas gracias.
Vielen Dank. Herr Hoheit, und Sie das Wort ergreifen.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. I would like to concentrate on the center
ask the gentleman in front to move
an
because we don't have a
explanation
picture of His Excellency.
of the center. I'm sorry, this is the name. As you know, our three countries have just signed agreement for the establishment of König Abdullah International Center for Interreligious and Cultural Dialog in Vienna. The multilateral agreement will be open to other states and to international organizations as parties in all of their lives. The agreement builds on the objective of the United Nations Charter and on the principles enshrined in the Declaration of the Madrid World Conference on Interfaith Dialogue of 18 July 2008 and on UN resolution on the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue, understanding and cooperation for peace of 13 November 2008. Moreover, the agreement emphasizes the principles and values of human life and dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedom for all without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion. Hence, it explicitly commits itself to the principles enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in particular the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and pledges to combat all forms of discrimination based on religion or faith. The Center has been established as an international organization with the following objectives. One, to enhance interreligious and intercultural dialogue, thus fostering respect, mutual understanding, and cooperation among the people. Second, to promote justice, peace and reconciliation. Third, to counteract the abuse of religion to justify oppression, violence and conflict. Fourth, to promote responsible way of living the religious and spiritual dimension of individuals and society. 5, to promote respect for and preservation of the sacred character of all holy sites and religious symbols. 6, to address the contemporary challenges to society such as the dignity of human life, the preservation of the environment, sustainable use of natural resources, ethical and religious education, and poverty alleviation. To achieve these objectives, the Center will, among other things, serve as a forum for representatives of the major world religions, faith-based institutions, and experts in order to enhance communication and information exchange, thus strengthening cooperation. Cooperate with the appropriate interreligious, intercultural, and other organizations and initiatives with similar goals, as well as with state and international organizations. Convene conferences, workshops, discussions, and other meetings. The Center will be governed by a board of directors consisting of up to 12 representatives of the major religions of the world. The board of directors will be supported by an advisory forum comprising up to 100 representatives of the world's major religions and faith-based and cultural institutions. The Center will maintain a secretariat at its headquarters in Vienna, which will be headed by a Secretary General. We are living in a world in which people are still divided by misunderstandings and conflicts that are often due to poor communication and incorrect information. Hence the need for a mediating institution such as the King Abdullah and Abdulaziz Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialog is greater than ever. Those who gain an insight into the principles shared by all the world religions will realize that the responsible way of living the religious and spiritual dimension poses no threat. Rather, it can lead to a more humane and fruitful coexistence. As an expression of freedom and generosity of spirit, dialogue can serve as a basis for the discovery of similarity, thus facilitating mutual respect and the recognition of unity in diversity. Thank you.
Vielen Dank. Der Minister steht jetzt für die Fragen zur Verfügung. Ich erinnere daran, dass Spanisch, Arabisch und Deutsch gedolmetscht wird. Herr Panther von der APA, bitte. Mikrofon bitte warten.
On the important measure of finance, it has been said that Saudi Arabia will pay for the entire cost of the organization until 2014, and thereafter the cost will be split between the signatory states. Is that so? And if so, why does Saudi Arabia want to pay for the major part of the operation?
First, let me say that paying for the operation is to create a fund that makes the center independent of any sort of political interference. So there will be a fund established to pay for the cost and the management of the center. Saudi Arabia is willing to put as much resources as it can because it believes in the center. And I think other countries will contribute. But any shortfall in finances we will be happy to cover. The reason for it is that we really believe in the need for it. And the need for it is obvious from the word we have heard from both directors this morning.
Okay, I'm director from Reuters news agency. I'd like to ask about the alleged plot, the alleged Iranian plot in Washington. What concrete steps might Saudi Arabia take against Iran as a response to this, these accusations? For example, might Saudi Arabia recall the Saudi ambassador from Tehran? Thank you.
Well, we just have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how Saudi Arabia can do. This dastardly act reflects, I think, the policy of Iran, the policy of going against international law and interfering to disrupt countries that is considered as enemy, and they consider anybody who does not follow their purposes as an enemy. That is, whether it is not with us, is against us. And so they want to put pressure on everybody, and they think by murder and mayhem they will influence the actions of these countries. We will not bow to such pressure. We hold them accountable for any action they take against us. And any action they take against us will have a measured response from Saudi Arabia.
Your Highness, will the goal of this center to promote interreligious dialogue reach your country as well? Can we expect change regarding religious freedom in Saudi Arabia?
This center is established exactly for the purposes of these questions that have been at the center of difference between. We're hoping that the center will take the lead in the direction that you mentioned.
عيسى الطيبي from NBC دبي. سمو الوزير، استكمالا لسؤال الزميل حول محاضرة السفير السعودي في واشنطن، هل من معلومات جديدة حول الموضوع؟ هذا السؤال. والسؤال الثاني، تأسيس المركز الدولي لمكافحة الإرهاب في نيويورك بمبادرة سعودية، والآن مركز الملك عبد الله لحوار الأديان، هذا التسارع في الدبلوماسية السعودية والخارجية كيف تعلق عنه؟
يعني ايش الربط بين
الدبلوماسية السعودية؟ يعني هناك نشاط في نيويورك وهناك في فيينا، يعني لماذا التسارع في النشاط الخارجي الدبلوماسية السعودية؟
ممكن نكسر ما نسوي نشاط. شعورنا اننا ننشط في هذه الحالة، اما بخصوص الحادث المؤلم اللي حصل في واشنطن، المعلومات الواردة كلها تدين إيران أنها هي المسؤولة أولا وأخيرا عن الحادث. هي اللي دورت الذين قاموا بالحادث، هي اللي وجدتهم وهي اللي خططت لهم، والهدف طبعا واضح، زيادة المشاكل التي جابها هذه الدول وخلق زعزعة بين العلاقات نحن لمنا ذلك لأن إيران دولة جارة ودولة مسلمة، ولم نتوقع على الدولة الجارة المسلمة أن تقوم بعمل
Ist die Auswahl der Fragen schon ein Hinweis auf den Dialog? Ist die Auswahl der Fragen
Andreas Mittendorf, Austrian Broadcasting Corporation. The Dialog Center was criticized before it already starts. Prince Faisal, Your Highness, I want to ask you, how does it go together, your efforts in interreligious dialogue and your situation at home, which, let's say, there is a quite conservative Islam. How does it go together?
I don't think this interreligious dialogue is against Islamic faith. On the contrary, it is part and parcel of the Islamic faith. So what we are doing is following the principles of our faith. And by the way, I'm not the only one here.
They have us every day.
Hello, my name is Samuel Last. I'm running a Jewish website, a new Jewish newspaper in Austria, and I would have 2 questions to you. Sorry, I'm running again. Yes. In English, it's okay? If I would wish to pray in Saudi Arabia in a synagogue, would it be possible? And could I take my female boss with me that would drive me to the synagogue if it is not on Shabbat?
You can pray in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, pray in the synagogue.
There are no synagogues.
Yes. Could there be any synagogues in Saudi Arabia?
There are no Jewish people.
If there would be people longing to come to Saudi Arabia, Jewish people, to have a dialogue with you, would you accept them? Would you let them pray privately or publicly? And could they drive them?
They are part and parcel of what we are doing. Jewish faith is represented equally in this organization. And Jews come to Saudi Arabia. They're not prevented from coming to Saudi Arabia.
Is it only
جبريل ودية التلفزيون السعودي القناة الأولى. سمو الأمير، يعني في اليوم الذي توقع فيه المملكة على أوراق لتصدير مساحة من التسامح والثقافة والسلام هنا في النمسا، المملكة العربية السعودية تتعرض لما يشبه المؤامرة المتواصلة من قبل الإيرانيين. ولا ننسى أنه قبل أيام كان هناك أيضا عمل غير إنساني وغير آمن من إيران، إن لم تكن المملكة تصرح بذلك مباشرة في موضوع القطيف الآن حادثة السفر. في الوقت الذي تمد فيه المملكة إلى السلام تتعرض لمثل هذه المؤامرات. أشار بها المملكة إلى أن هناك خطوات قادمة ستقوم بها. هذا السؤال الأول: ما هي الخطوات القادمة لكي نحافظ على بلد السلام؟ السؤال الآخر سمو الأمير: اللغة العربية هل سيكون لها حضور في هذا المركز وتكون واحدة من اللغات الرسمية مثلا في المركز؟ لأن أيضا الحضارة العربية هي اللغة العربية لغة الحضارة ولغة الدين. شكرا.
نعم، اللغة العربية أما بالنسبة لما قامت به إيران فهي كما ذكرت ليس أول حادث يبرز تدخلها في الشؤون الداخلية العربية. كما تعلم سبق هذا المحاولات في الكويت منذ فترة وجيزة عندما قبضوا على مجموعة من العملاء الإيرانيين ما عملوه في جميع أنحاء العالم العربي من تدخل، سواء في لبنان أو في العراق أو في بلدان عربية أخرى. هذا الطريق لن يؤدي إلا إلى طريق مسدود للإيرانيين. يجب أن يعلموا أن الوسيلة الوحيدة للتعاون بين الدول هو أن كلنا نطبق جميعا القانون الدولي وسياسة حجم الجوع، كما بالعمل الإرهابي والعمل المخفي والدسائس والمؤامرات لن تؤدي إلى التنمية، خاصة مع بلد مثل المملكة العربية السعودية.
Als letzte Frage der Herr Erster.
Santa Maria, my name with the Spanish News Agency. A question for the Minister, please, and at the same time for Your Highness. Do you think it would be possible to have a center without the Arab Spring?
Creo que es una reflexión interesante pensar que la primavera árabe nos brinda la oportunidad de establecer una relación más abierta entre el mundo árabe y el mundo occidental. Lo que ha supuesto la primavera árabe ha sido un clamor en las calles de muchos países por más democracia, más derechos y más libertades. Y esto significa mayor entendimiento entre las diferentes sociedades, entre las diferentes culturas y entre las diferentes religiones. Creo sinceramente que este centro que hoy ponemos en marcha es una gran oportunidad para el entendimiento. Y quiero recordar a todos los presentes que en el comité ejecutivo, en la Junta de Gobernadores de este centro, van a estar representantes del Islam, representantes del cristianismo, representantes del judaísmo, del hinduismo, del budismo. Tomemos este centro como la gran oportunidad para el respeto entre las distintas religiones, para el respeto entre las diferentes culturas, para las diferentes razas. Tratemos de ver lo que nos une y tratemos de enriquecernos con la diferencia del otro. Tratemos de ver la diversidad como un elemento de cohesión y, por tanto, de ver los valores con los que podemos caminar juntos para resolver los importantes desafíos que tenemos enfrente de todos nosotros. España ha apoyado firmemente la primavera árabe porque yo quiero para mis hermanos de los países árabes lo mismo que quiero para mi país, que es más democracia y más libertad.
Danke. Ich weiß, es gibt noch viele Fragen, aber Zeitgründen wird es zum Schluss kommen. Sorry.
Well, I don't see what the so-called Arab Spring has to do with this center. The center was talked about and established years before the so-called Arab Spring. One of the most important things about events like that is for people to let things develop according to the issues of the people inside them and not interfere in the development of these events. Some people call it constructive chaos. I don't know how they can justify calling it constructive chaos at the same time. I always thought that chaos was against constructive. But constructive chaos, if it happens, the worst thing you can do about it is intervene in the internal affairs of the country that faces such a kind of problem. We hope that the developments will result in conditions that are better than what was before. But this is a hope that we can express. But the people will finally decide what is change the Egyptian people and Tunisian people and many other countries that Saudi Arabia
I know there's still many questions, but due to time constraints, we have to close the press conference. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attention.